Hello, and welcome to the presentation of the Environmental Conservation Foundation. Before we get started, I'd like to give you a quick outline of who we are, what our mission is to increase biodiversity and examples of it, and what our new project is, wildlife corridors, and a discussion of edge effects. My name is Carlton Swearingen. I'm the Director of Marketing for the Environmental Conservation Foundation, and my associate is Shelby Perkins. She is the Director of Human Resources. Our mission is to increase biodiversity. Biodiversity applies to both plants and animals. Our mission is to save the ecosystem for not only humanity, but for the biosphere. What is biodiversity? There are two types. Genetic variation within a species is like your sibling has brown eyes and you have blue eyes, or your father has blonde hair and you have brown hair. Genetic diversity allows a species to attack a problem from many different angles. A good metaphor for this is it's hard to eat a steak if everyone has spoons, but it is easier to eat a steak with a fork and a knife. There is also biodiversity in specimen variation. This means how many different types of specimen there are in a single ecosystem. To continue the metaphor, it's better to eat a balanced meal rather than a lot of one thing. Why does it matter? Well, an increase of biodiversity will slow down the impact and spread of disease. If there is not a very diverse genetic variation within one species, then a single disease could drastically impact the population or even cause it to go extinct. If there is not a huge variation in the specimen of an ecosystem, when there are huge shocks like fires, floods, or population fluctuations, they have no chance, the ecosystem has no chance to recover. A good example is rainforests. Rainforests and tropical environments have the highest biodiversity in the entire world. The cordyceps fungus in rainforest is a fungus that is very particular. It targets incredibly effectively one subspecies of insect. Say it's attacking an ant. This cordyceps fungus will only attack that specific subspecies of ant. That ant has the chance, through its own genetic diversity, to evolutionarily adapt to the fungus, or if the ant population is destroyed, that cordyceps fungus will no longer affect any other insect, and the environment will be able to adapt by having many other different types of ants. An example of bad biodiversity is the white nose fungus, also known as white nose syndrome, which is currently affecting the U.S. bat population. So far, 6.7 million bats have died from the fungus, which every year leaves 2.4 million pounds of uneaten insects, because there are no other predators for the insects. This has a huge environmental and economical impact because the insects are now free to destroy crops. This has led to our new project, the creation of wildlife corridors. Wildlife corridors are land bridges through civilization. They increase animal movement and increase pollinator movement, such as ants, bats, bees, and hummingbirds. As plants and animals move around, they carry and drop seeds from different trees and flowers, so the biodiversity in plant, animal, and the whole ecosystem increases. Currently, according to the United Nations Environmental Program, the U.S. claims 1,006,619 square miles of protected land, but only 210,000 square miles of that land is actually protected from development. Many federally protected lands have roads or small towns on them. Roads and sounds are accompanied by vehicles, and vehicles make noise. All three of those things stop animals from moving. Edge effects happen where two habitats collide. In this discussion, I am talking about human habitat and wilderness habitat. So there are not only the effects of light and noise, but also potentially the effects of humans' pets and invasive species carried in from other crops. They must be accounted for because many species depend on borders for movement and many other species depend on constants. So the wildlife corridors must be large enough to take into effect these edge effects. Another good reason for wildlife corridors is the intrinsic value of wilderness. Plants store carbon and produce oxygen, not to mention the beauty and comfort of the wilderness. Henry David Thoreau said, "I went into the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived."